At the family party, my parents said, "We wish your sister was our only child." So I walked out. "Hi, I'm Ivana, 30 years old, senior marketing director in Chicago, and I thought I had a normal family. My younger sister, Abigail, got more attention, but I figured that was just how families worked. I was wrong. My mom called 3 weeks before everything fell apart. Ivana, sweetheart, we are having a celebration for your father's retirement. Saturday at 3 p.m. Abigail's flying in from Boston." "Sounds wonderful, Mom. Need me to bring anything?" "Just yourself, honey." "Oh, and Abigail's bringing her new business partner. They're doing incredible things with their startup." The celebration was packed with relatives and Dad's colleagues from his accounting firm. Abigail held court near the stone fireplace, gesturing dramatically while aunts and uncles hung on her every word. "And then the investors basically begged us to take their money," Abigail said, tossing her perfectly highlighted hair. My Aunt Patricia noticed me standing there. "Ivana, Abigail was just telling us about her tech company." I joined them, forcing a smile. "Hey, Bree. Congrats on the funding." Abigail barely glanced at me. "Thanks. You're still doing that mid-level marketing thing, right?" "Senior marketing director, actually. Got promoted to director level last month." "Oh, that's cute." She turned back to the group. "Anyway, we are projecting 8 figures by year 3. My mom appeared with a tray of crab cakes. "Abigail, honey, tell everyone about your Business Insider feature." "Well, they did name us one of the top 20 startups to watch," Abigail said, feigning modesty. "We are so proud," Mom gushed. "Our little tech genius." I drifted toward the kitchen where Dad talked with his colleague, Walter. "Ivana." Dad hugged me. "Walter, you remember my daughter? How's the marketing world treating you?" Walter asked. "Really well. We just secured the Lawson Corporation account. Huge win for our team." "That's fantastic." Dad interrupted. "Hey, have you seen Abigail's pitch deck? Absolutely brilliant stuff. Makes me wish I'd had that kind of vision at her age." The afternoon continued like that. Every conversation somehow circled back to Abigail's genius, her innovation, her success. At dinner, I ended up between Cousin Nathan and his wife Lauren. Mom tapped her wine glass. "Everyone, before we eat, I want to say a few words." She launched into a speech about Dad's 40-year career at the firm, then her eyes landed on Abigail. "And speaking of achievements, I'm so grateful Abigail took time out of her impossibly busy schedule to fly across the country. She reminds me so much of your father, that same brilliance, that same drive. She's everything we ever hoped for in a child." The room went silent. Dad raised his glass. "To Abigail, and all she's accomplished." "To Abigail," the room chorused. I didn't raise my glass. Mom turned to Dad, tears glistening in her eyes, loud enough for the entire table to hear. "Sometimes I think about how different our lives would be if Abigail was our only child. Everything would have been so much simpler, so much more exceptional." Dad nodded slowly. "You're absolutely right, sweetheart. We wish your sister was our only child." Lauren gasped beside me. Nathan's fork clattered onto his plate. I stood up fast, my chair scraping loudly against the hardwood floor. "Excuse me." "Ivana, sit down." Mom hissed. "Don't make a scene." "Make a scene." My voice cracked. "You just told everyone you wish I didn't exist, and you're worried about me making a scene." "That's not what I said." "It's exactly what you said." I grabbed my purse from the back of my chair. "Consider Abigail your only child." "I'm done." "Ivana, you're being overdramatic," Dad said flatly. "Your mother just meant." "I don't care what she meant. I'm leaving." Abigail spoke up, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "Vanna, come on. You're always so sensitive about everything." I looked at her. Really looked at her. The designer dress, the Cartier watch, the barely concealed satisfaction dancing in her eyes. "Goodbye, Abigail. Enjoy being the favorite." Aunt Patricia caught me at the front door. "Ivana, honey, That was absolutely horrific. It's fine, Aunt Patricia. Really? You're not fine. Your hands are shaking. She squeezed my arm. Listen, something's not right here. Your parents have been acting strange for months now. Ever since Abigail approached them about some business matter. Your sister isn't who she pretends to be. She pressed a business card into my trembling hand. That's my friend, Detective Raymond Torres. If you ever need anything, call him. Why would I need a detective? She glanced nervously over her shoulder. Because 3 months ago, Abigail asked me detailed questions about your job, your accounts, your entire professional life. She said it was for competitive market research, but Ivana, it felt wrong. Where you bank, what accounts you manage at work, your client roster. I didn't tell her much, but others might have. Her face was deadly serious. Whatever's happening, your parents are involved. Find out what before it's too late. I spent Sunday in shock, staring at Detective Torres's business card on my coffee table. Monday morning, I called Aunt Patricia. Patricia, it's Ivana. I need names. Everyone Abigail talked to about me. Hold on, let me think. Definitely your parents. Your Uncle Gregory mentioned Abigail asking about your work projects in detail. And, oh God, Ivana. She had lunch with your executive assistant, Rachel, about 2 months ago. Rachel? My Rachel. Abigail told her she wanted to surprise you with a meaningful gift related to your career. Asked about your biggest clients, your presentation materials, your upcoming campaign strategies. I hung up and immediately called Rachel into my office. Close the door. We need to talk about Abigail. Rachel's face went pale. Oh no. Ivana, I can explain. Start talking. Now. Your sister contacted me in October. She said she wanted to do something special for your birthday. Wanted to understand your work so she could get you the perfect gift. Rachel wrung her hands. She seemed so genuine, so caring. She asked about the Lawson account, the strategy documents, everything. And you just told her? She's your sister. I thought. Did you give her access to anything? Files? Emails? No. I would never. Rachel stopped. Wait. She asked to use my computer for 5 minutes. Said hers had died and she needed to send one urgent email. I was right there the whole time. Show me your computer. Right now. We spent 2 hours going through Rachel's system. That's when I found it, a hidden folder in her downloads, created the exact day Abigail visited. Inside were copies of every single presentation I'd created for the Lawson Corporation account. My strategic plans, client research, proprietary market analysis, demographic breakdowns. Oh my God, Rachel whispered. Ivana, I'm so sorry. I had no idea she would. It's not your fault. She manipulated you. I copied the folder to a flash drive. Don't tell anyone about this discovery. Not yet. That afternoon, I drove to my parents' house in Evanston. Mom answered the door with a tight smile. Ivana, what a surprise. We need to talk about Abigail. Your sister is extremely busy. She doesn't have time for your petty jealousy issues. Jealousy? I pushed past her into the living room where Dad sat reading the Tribune. Dad, I need you to answer something honestly. What business matter did Abigail come to you about 3 months ago? Dad's newspaper lowered slowly. That's between us and Abigail. Did it involve me? Ivana, Mom snapped. This isn't about you. Everything isn't always about you. Answer the question. Did Abigail's business involve me? They exchanged a long look. Finally, Dad spoke. Abigail needed some information for her market research study. We helped her obtain it. What information? Your client list, your campaign strategies. She said she needed to study successful marketing approaches in the healthcare sector. Mom's voice was defensive now. She's building something transformative. Ivana. We wanted to help her succeed. The room spun. You gave her my client information? My proprietary work product? Do you have any idea what you've done? Oh, stop being so dramatic, Mom said. You should be flattered Abigail thinks your work is worth studying. Studying? Mom, she stole it. That's corporate espionage. Industrial theft. Don't be ridiculous. Abigail would never. Wake up. Your perfect daughter is a fraud. Dad stood up, his face turning red. Get out of this house. Now. Gladly. But when this all comes crashing down, don't say I didn't warn you. I left and drove straight to my company's legal department. Our general counsel, Victoria Lambert, listened to everything with increasing alarm. Ivana, this is extremely serious. Industrial espionage, theft of trade secrets, corporate fraud. If Abigail's company is using your work, we need proof. Can we see her company's materials? Their presentations, pitch decks, investor documents. Victoria made notes rapidly. Do you have any way to access those? I thought about Aunt Patricia. Maybe. Give me 24 hours. That evening, I met Aunt Patricia at a coffee shop in Lincoln Park. She brought her laptop. I did some digging, she said, opening a folder. Abigail's been posting about her company constantly on LinkedIn and Twitter. Look at this investor presentation from last month. She turned the screen toward me. My breath caught. There, slide by slide, was my Lawson Corporation presentation. My analysis, my strategies, my exact wording, with Abigail's company logo plastered on top. That's my work, I whispered. Every single slide is mine. There's more. Patricia clicked through several documents. These revolutionary marketing insights she's been promoting? I compared them to your LinkedIn articles from the past year. Ivana, she didn't just steal your major projects. She's been copying everything you publish and claiming it as her own innovation. The Business Insider article, the Startup Award nominations, all of it based on my work. All of it. And your parents actively helped her do it. Patricia's voice was gentle but firm. Honey, you need to take this to a real attorney. What Abigail's done, what your parents enabled, it's criminal. I called Victoria from the coffee shop. By midnight, we had a comprehensive plan. I scheduled a meeting with Abigail under the pretense of wanting to reconcile and clear the air. She suggested her new office, a sleek high-rise in the Loop, probably funded by investors she deceived with my stolen work. Victoria came with me, along with our company's private investigator, David Sullivan, and a court reporter. Abigail's confident smile faltered when she saw my entourage. Ivana, what's going on here? We need to talk about your business. Where your ideas actually came from. I don't have time for this. I have a venture capital meeting in an hour. Cancel it. I placed a thick folder on her glass desk. Because by the time we are done, you won't have a business to pitch. You're being paranoid again. Am I? I opened the folder, spreading documents across her desk. Then explain why your investor deck is identical to my Lawson presentation. Word. For. Word. That's not. Don't touch the evidence, Victoria said calmly. We have authenticated copies of Ivana's original work, dated 7 months before your company was even incorporated. We also have testimony that you solicited proprietary information through fraudulent means. Abigail's face went from pale to flushed red. This is insane. These are my ideas. Really? I pulled out more documents. So you independently developed this exact market analysis, using these exact data points, with these exact case studies and demographic breakdowns. You can't prove. We can. Victoria's voice was ice. We have Rachel's sworn testimony. We have the files you downloaded from her computer. We have your parents admitting they gave you Ivana's client information and strategic documents. We have screenshots of your LinkedIn posts that mirror Ivana's published articles, sometimes within hours of her posting them. I leaned forward. We have everything, Abigail. She laughed desperately. You're bluffing. You wouldn't dare embarrass the family like this. The family? My voice was cold. You mean the family that publicly wishes I didn't exist? Ivana, come on. Abigail's tone shifted, suddenly pleading. Maybe I looked at some of your work for inspiration. But that's not stealing. That's how business works. Corporate espionage. Fraud. Theft of trade secrets. Wire fraud for using stolen materials in interstate commerce. Victoria counted them off. Industrial espionage carries federal penalties. Abigail turned to me, tears forming. Ivana, please. You're my sister. We can work this out. I'll cut you in on the company. Give you equity, 50-50. I don't want your company. I want you to face consequences. But why? We are family. Families forgive each other. Forgive? My voice shook. You stole my work, my reputation, my career. You convinced our parents I was worthless so they'd help you rob me. You manipulated everyone I trusted. And now you want forgiveness. I'm sorry. I was jealous. You were always so naturally talented at everything, and I couldn't compete. So I took a shortcut. But I'm genuinely sorry. Please, Ivana, I'll do anything. I'll tell everyone the truth. I'll shut down the company. Just don't destroy me. You should have thought about that before you smirked when our parents said they wished I didn't exist. I didn't. I saw you, Abigail. You enjoyed it. David Sullivan, the investigator, stepped forward. We also have evidence you've been spreading false information about Ivana to her clients and competitors, attempting to damage her professional reputation. Abigail's tears stopped abruptly. You can't prove that. 4 of your competitors have come forward with emails you sent, claiming Ivana's work was plagiarized from you. One recorded a phone call where you said she was under federal investigation for corporate theft. David smiled coldly. That's defamation. And it's very, very provable. Abigail stood up, knocking her ergonomic chair backward. Fine. Take your precious evidence. At least I had the guts to build something instead of being a corporate drone like you. You didn't build anything. You stole it. I made it better. Your work was good, but I made it great. Those investors believed in me. They believed in a lie. I gathered the documents. We are filing a lawsuit tomorrow morning. We are seeking full damages, return of all assets gained through fraud, and we are pursuing criminal charges. We are also notifying Business Insider and every publication that's featured you. You're destroying my life. No, Abigail. I'm stopping you from destroying anyone else's. She lunged across the desk, grabbing my arm. You self-righteous. Victoria pulled me back as David stepped between us. I'd be very careful about physical threats, Ms. Abigail. That would add assault to your legal problems. Abigail stood there, shaking with rage. Mom and Dad will never forgive you for this. Good thing I don't need their forgiveness anymore. The lawsuit hit the Chicago Business News 2 days later. Rising tech star accused of massive corporate theft. Within hours, Abigail's investors withdrew their funding. By the end of the week, her company had dissolved completely. I was in Victoria's office reviewing deposition schedules when my phone rang. Mom. How could you? She screamed the second I answered. How could you do this to your own sister? Mom, Abigail committed multiple felonies. She made a mistake. A small mistake. And you've ruined her entire future over it. A small mistake? She stole years of my work. She destroyed my professional relationships. She committed fraud. She's your sister. You're supposed to protect family, not tear them down. The way you protected me at that party. Silence. Then Dad's voice came on the line. Ivana, if you drop this lawsuit, we can all move past it. We'll get Abigail professional help. Make sure this never happens again. So she can do this to someone else. Don't be difficult, Mom interjected. We are offering you a way to fix this family. I laughed bitterly. Fix the family? You told an entire room you wished I didn't exist. You helped Abigail steal from me. And now you want me to just, what? Pretend it never happened. We said we are sorry. Dad shouted. What more do you want? I don't want anything from you. I never want to hear from either of you again. Ivana, please. I hung up. 3 weeks later, Abigail showed up at my apartment in Wicker Park. I almost didn't let her in, but curiosity won out. She looked terrible. Dark circles under her eyes, unwashed hair, wearing sweatpants and an old Northwestern hoodie. "Ivana, please. We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. Just hear me out. 5 minutes." When I didn't slam the door, she continued, "I know what I did was unforgivable. I know you'll never forgive me, but I need you to understand why. I don't care why. I was drowning." Her voice cracked. "You were always the brilliant one, the capable one. Mom and Dad never had to worry about you. But me? I couldn't keep a job. Couldn't finish any project I started. I was failing at absolutely everything. And then I saw your work, and I thought if I could just borrow it, just get started, I could figure out the rest on my own. So you stole my entire career. I didn't mean for it to go so far. But every time I succeeded, Mom and Dad were so proud. For the first time in my life, they looked at me the way they'd always looked at you. And I got addicted to that feeling." Tears streamed down her face. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry. Truly, genuinely sorry." I looked at my sister, this broken, desperate woman who destroyed everything, and I felt nothing. "Your apology doesn't change what you did, Abigail. It doesn't undo the damage. And it definitely doesn't make us family again." "I know. I had to try." She turned to leave, then stopped. "For what it's worth, you were always the better person. I see that now. Goodbye, Abigail." The criminal trial started in February. Abigail pled guilty to avoid prison time, receiving 5 years probation, 800 hours of community service, and complete restitution of all profits gained from the stolen work, over $2 million. The judge also ordered her to issue public apologies to my company and all affected clients. My parents didn't attend the sentencing. According to Aunt Patricia, they'd moved to Scottsdale, telling everyone they needed a fresh start away from the scandal. 6 months after the party, I sat in Aunt Patricia's kitchen in Lincoln Square, drinking chamomile tea and watching the sunset paint the sky orange and pink. "How you doing, sweetheart?" she asked gently. "Really doing?" "I'm okay. Better than okay, actually. My company promoted me to Vice President of Strategic Marketing. They've been incredibly supportive through everything. And emotionally. I thought about it. I miss having parents. But I don't miss the people they turned out to be. There's a difference." "There is." Patricia squeezed my hand. "I'm proud of you, Ivana." Standing up to them took real courage. I just couldn't let it go. Not after everything. "Good. They didn't deserve your forgiveness." She smiled. "So what's next for Ivana?" "Honestly? I'm thinking about writing a book about corporate theft and family betrayal. Turn this whole nightmare into something useful." I laughed. "Maybe help other people spot the warning signs before their own families rob them blind." "That's perfect. You'll help people while making sure your story is told correctly, not Abigail's version." I raised my teacup. "To new chapters." "To new chapters," Patricia echoed. "And to family that actually deserves the title." As I drove home that evening, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Ivana, this is Dad. Can we talk? We want to apologize properly." I deleted it without responding. Some bridges, once burned, should stay ash. 2 months later, I signed a book deal with a major publisher. Stolen Success, When Family Becomes the Enemy, would tell my story and provide a guide for professionals protecting their intellectual property from those closest to them. My company threw me a celebration dinner at Gibson's Steakhouse. My team was there, along with Victoria, David Sullivan, and Aunt Patricia. Even Rachel came, having worked tirelessly to help build the case against Abigail. To Ivana, Victoria raised her glass. For her courage, her integrity, and her refusal to let injustice win. To Ivana, everyone chorused. Later that night, alone in my apartment, I stood by the window overlooking the city lights. My phone buzzed again, another message from my parents. "Please, Ivana. Let us explain. We made mistakes. We miss you. I blocked the number. The truth was, I didn't need their explanations. I didn't need their belated apologies or their convenient regrets now that Abigail's life had imploded. They'd made their choice that day at the party, and I'd made mine. My book launched in October to strong reviews. I did a book tour, speaking at universities and corporations about protecting your work, recognizing manipulative behavior, and knowing when to walk away from toxic relationships, even family. At a signing in Boston, a young woman approached me, tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she said. "My brother stole my business plan last year. Everyone told me to forgive him because his family. Your book gave me the courage to file a lawsuit. I won." That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. Every painful step, every difficult decision, every moment of standing alone, it was worth it. A year after the party, Aunt Patricia called. "Your parents want you to know they're getting divorced. Apparently, the stress of everything." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, and I meant it. Not for them, but for the waste of it all. They asked if you'd be willing to meet. "No. I thought you'd say that. For what it's worth, I think you're right." I hung up and looked around my apartment, at the framed promotion letter on my wall, at the advance copy of my book on the coffee table, at the life I'd rebuilt from the ashes of betrayal. I didn't need my parents' approval. I didn't need Abigail's apologies. I didn't need them to understand or accept my choices. I just needed to keep moving forward. My phone buzzed one last time. Another unknown number. "Ivana, it's Abigail. I'm in therapy now. Working on myself. I don't expect forgiveness, but I wanted you to know I'm trying to become someone worthy of having you as a sister someday. Even if that day never comes." I read it twice, then deleted it. Some wounds heal. Some don't. And some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. I was okay with that. Actually, I was better than okay. I was free.